Welcome to the finale of the Showdown in the Badlands review. Here, we revisit my first review. We talk about my entire thoughts about the Badlands set as a whole. We talk about the cards revealed at BlizzCon. That's Reno and two other cards. The Reno card is really, really important. And let's jump right into it. Take it away, old Trump. I think this set's kind of weak on the reveal here. So why is it weak? Well, stay tuned and find out. So the reason why is because there's two main mechanics of this set. There is Singleton, which is the Highlander mechanic. You run 30 unique cards in your deck, or rather, if your deck has no duplicates at the time that you play the Singleton card, then you do something really cool. Now, for a multitude of reasons, but the primary reason being, the strong cards, you want to have two of those in your deck. And it seems like right now we are in a format where there are some really strong cards, so you want to put two of them in your deck. It would be really, really difficult for the Singleton card to be good enough in order to overcome that restriction. So basically, the Highlander card would have to be so incredibly good that you would have to not put all the super ridiculously good cards out there right now into your deck. Yes, excellently explained, old Trump. But good news. Exactly that kind of power level was revealed in Reno Lone Ranger, the big payoff for playing a Reno deck. Reno Lone Ranger is a hero card, which gives you 5 armor when you play it. 8 mana, Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, empty the enemy board and limit it to 1 minion for a turn. It's high noon. This also turns your hero power into dealing 2 damage with a beneficial effect which cycles amongst many effects. But yes, you mainly play the Reno when you're playing a Highlander deck in order to get this ludicrous one-sided board wipe, plus preventing your opponent from doing anything too crazy on the following turn. And that is a really compelling reason to run a Highlander deck. But if there are so many Highlander decks that you could play, you could theoretically play any class in a Highlander deck. Which class should you play as a Highlander? And I suspect that you'll only do it with a class that will have the other Highlander payoff. And sure, Shaman, you have a really good Highlander payoff if you draw exactly the Highlander Frog card at 5 mana and play it. But what's really consistent is a Highlander card that you want to always play, which is your win condition for Druid. Rheastraza, the 8/8/8, which summons the Purified Dragoness. The Purified Dragoness will eventually win you the game. So that is actually a deck that I could see being really, really strong. Highlander Druid. The Taunt Druid was also looking pretty strong. So that's one of the highlights of Showdown in the Badlands. I think the Reno and the Rheastraza and the Druid cards are pretty good. So rejoice if you're a Druid fan. Now, what's the second reason on why I think that the set was weak? Take it away, old Trump. Is the second main mechanic of the set is excavation. And excavation is a value mechanic where if you play a card where you excavate a treasure, then that means you get a random treasure. A treasure is going to be slightly better than the average card. It's similar to a lackey way back in the evil set. So whenever you see excavate a treasure, I think you want to read it as draw or discover, generate a good card, a better than average card. You generate it among huge list of treasures, which I'll show in greater detail later. But you get the common treasure, the 1 cost, and the uncommon, the 2 cost, the rare rather. Then the epic treasure, the 3 cost, and then 5 of the classes are the classes that actually get a legendary treasure. Their class-specific treasure. So it felt like to me that the Hearthstone team wanted at least 1 Highlander class to be good and at least 1 Excavate deck to be good. And how good did you have to make the Excavate payoff in order to make that class good? Well, you probably had to make it somewhere along the lines of 4 mana 5/5 Battlecry, your hero steals 10 health from the enemy hero. So basically, Pyroblast plus, well, suck 10, so to say. So I actually think that this Warlock deck, which excavates and then plays the Azurite Snake and then bounces it and then tries to play it 2 more times in order to steal 30 health from the enemy hero, that could be a pretty solid choice as well. So, and that's really just about what I think Showdown in the Badlands is going to bring. It's going to bring the Highlander Druid. It's going to bring this Excavate Warlock. There's a few other cards here and there that'll slide into current decks, but I think not too many. So that's my general thought about the set. Fun cards. The theme is great, but I just think in general, a lot of the cards in this set emphasized value. Highlander, which is inconsistency at the benefit of some power, but the inconsistency is a lot. It really shows when the cards are so strong currently. And in terms of Excavate is just a mechanic that's based around gathering value. Speaking of value, here's the other 2 cards that were revealed at BlizzCon. Not entirely sure why they were held back until BlizzCon, honestly. There's Mezadune the Fractured, the Mage, 6 mana, 6/5 Elemental Battlecry, draw an Elemental, split it in 2 halves. Well, this is clearly good in Elemental Mage. It's also clearly good if you play it with exactly the Ragnaros, where you'll draw the Ragnaros and it'll split into 2 4 mana 4/4s, which deal 8 damage a turn, as well as your Neptulon, which you'll get 2 Neptulons, which when the Neptulon attacks, your 2 4/2s that summon with it still attack. So yeah, you'll probably play it in exactly that deck, but that seems to be a value-oriented deck, and Elemental Mage is nowhere near, a good deck. So this will probably have no relevance, but maybe someday. Certainly not anywhere close to the power level of Sif, I'd say right now. Sif's deck, and this doesn't fit in that deck. Rogue gets a legendary, Velorok Windblade, 3 mana 3/3. While this is in your hand, play 3 cards from other classes to reveal Velorok's true form. Notably, I don't think this even required this restriction, but notably you have to actually play the other cards from other classes while Velorok's in your hand. Otherwise, you are going to draw this, and it'll be a 3 mana 3/3, and it'll be super sad. Yeah, that'll be pretty sad. But once it transforms, it's Velorok the Deceiver, a dragon. 3 mana 3/6 charge. After this attacks, discover a card from another class. It costs 3 less. So, yeah, that's cool, but way too slow. This will certainly never see play. So, when I say never see play, I meant won't see play in the current meta, since Thief Rogue doesn't see play, and Velorok certainly isn't good enough to push Thief Rogue to be good. So that is Showdown in the Badlands. Big winners would be Highlander Druid, Druid in general, because all the dragons in Druid looked pretty strong, and I think this Warlock deck with Excavation looked pretty good. There's a few interesting other cards here and there, but ultimately I think this set's impact will be seen through those 2 main decks. Cool. So, Showdown in the Badlands comes out, well, on the same day that I'm posting this video, really, on the November the 14th. So, enjoy the very initial experimentation season. I hope to be proven wrong, and for the world's laboratories to show me decks that I could not have even envisioned. We'll see.